מי בעד ומי נגד?
This was the scene yesterday inside Israel's parliament. Family of those held hostage by Hamas are demanding the government do more to secure the release of their loved ones. All week, families have been staggering demonstrations inside and outside the Knesset. The protests come as the Israeli parliament is about to begin its annual spring recess. It officially starts on Sunday and is scheduled to continue until May 19th. Protesters have been calling on lawmakers to cancel the break. Just over half of the people taken during the Hamas attack remain in captivity. My next guest was there demonstrating earlier this week. Yael Lichi's nephew was abducted on October 7th. He was released after nearly 2 months in captivity, but Yael and the rest of the family hasn't stopped fighting for the government to bring the remaining hostages home. Thank you so much for joining me. Why was it important for you to show up at the parliament this week?
Good evening. It is important for us, for me and my family, to continue asking the government again and again to release all the hostages as soon as possible, because as we know, the condition there is very, very bad. The hostages are being held in unhuman conditions, in the tunnels, in darkness. Many sexual abusement are happening there, and it's not reasonable, as I think, that it continue for 6 months. On Sunday, it will be 6 months. So,
you spoke with officials about what families are going through. What were those conversations like?
My nephew was held in capture for 54 days. He was kidnapped from his bed in Kibbutz Be'eri while visiting his girlfriend. I don't think in any normal reality, children has to be taken from the beds. And it is still very important to me to meet as much people as I can in the government and in the Knesset and beg them to do everything to release them. I think we hear a lot of words. We have a lot of sympathy, empathy. They say they understand us, but I don't think someone can understand this condition, because I know what I have been through 54 days, not knowing where your children are, not knowing if they're alive. For the whole day, we didn't hear anything from our nephew. For my nephew, we didn't have any sign of life. We try to explain it to the world, we try to explain it to our government, but as the time goes by, I understand that maybe our Prime Minister, I don't know why, but he doesn't do everything he can to bring them home.
You know, we're looking at pictures of your nephew, Ofer Engel, and, you know, he looks like such a bright young man. How has he been since this traumatic experience? How has your family been?
He's not a man, he's a boy.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. And he's telling us horrible stories about the hunger there, about the psychological terrorism he went through. And I think it will take us a long, long time to recover from this period of time we were waiting for him. And I can't even imagine what the families are going through, the families of those who are still there. A lot of families feel, and a lot of other people in Israel, that maybe our Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, is standing between the deal and the people. And that's why we went to tell him that if he won't bring the deal and bring them home now, maybe he can give his place to someone else. Because we here, the people in Israel, most of us are people of peace. We want just to live our life quietly.
The Prime Minister, as you mentioned, Benjamin Netanyahu, has faced mounting political pressure, including a recent call with U.S. President Joe Biden. What do you think of his handling of the war so far?
I'm not an expert of wars or diplomatic stages or anything like that. I just know 181 days passed, 134 hostages are still there. We don't know how many of them are still alive. In the Knesset on Tuesday, I was there in a forum that spoke about the sexual abusement that happened October 7th. And I think everyone in the world should read this report I read. It's so horrible, and it's unbelievable that human beings can do such things. And if the Prime Minister had read this report and still don't bring them back, we have a big problem.
This Sunday marks 6 months since the October 7th attack and the start of the war. What do you think it is going to take to get the rest of these hostages home?
They just have to decide and make the deal. I heard from other people that are connected to the negotiation that it's possible to make it. It's possible to make the deal. You know, we waited 54 days and for the first deal, and we saw that hostages come back alive only in a deal, not in military process. So I don't know why they don't come back. I really don't know. We feel so, we don't have more words anymore. Just feel so sad all the time and angry all the time. We just want them home.
You just want them home. Yael, appreciate you taking the time tonight. That is Yael Lichi, whose nephew, Ophir, was held hostage by Hamas. We thank you for your time tonight.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I say one more thing? When I see the pictures from Gaza, it breaks my heart too, because we don't want to see this suffering of other people. But I want the world to remember that October 7 began with thousands of terrorists go inside villages in Israel and take 248 people away from their beds and murdered 1,400 people. So I think Israel is now defending herself. And I think we are ready to make the deal and stop this horrifying situation for everyone. So I want all the world to remember that there was no situation like that, that 134 innocent people kept by terrorists for so long. And I want the world to help us to make the deal.
Yael, thanks for coming on Canada Tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Travis. Have a good night.
Good night.